Okay, thank you very much, Professor Izuka. I am very honored to make a speech on the humanist management this time. Uh, we are from Japan, and at the moment today, Japan is very fine. The weather is very fine, although we are afraid of expanding COVID-19. But we are very happy with the weather. In Tokyo, I don't know the other areas of the Japan. Okay, can I share my slides on screens?
Yes, please.
Uh, uh, the host, can I share
Yes,
my
yes.
slides?
Yes, you
Uh,
are co-host. You are
Okay.
co-host now. Hello, Naoki. Great seeing you.
great.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
let
yeah,
me
yeah.
do,
Thank you very much.
let me do, yes, you are allowed to do the sharing, so it's not be a problem.
Okay, okay. Can you see this? Okay. So first of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Ernst uh, Kimakowicz. He stayed at Soka University, our university, as a guest professor in 2016. So now, 4 years ago. But we had very valuable interactions. We had a valuable contribution from Ernst on the study of humanistic management for half a year. So thank you very much, Ernst. Are you fine?
Yes, I'm
Thank you
very
very much.
good. And it was a fantastic half year I had.
Yeah, fantastic meeting with you. Thank you very much. And thank you for Professor Izuka. I am thankful for your dedication to the inauguration of Japan chapter of Humanist Management. Okay, thank you very much. So about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, I would like to present my topics of the study on humanist management and the decent work. And decent work is the terms by International Labor Office, in which I worked for the head office in Geneva for 4 years from 1988 and 1991, which was a long time ago. But I was very busy to write a paper on Japanese employment system. At the time, Japan was at the high season in economics. We are we have we had very high economic growth and very low unemployment rate. So there are information gap between international academics and domestic Japanese academics. So I was very busy to publish the issues on Japanese employment situations at that time. And since then, I have been associated with the ILO activities, including recent work. And I would like to present my interest of the shared factor between three steps of humanistic management and decent work framework. Decent work was advocated by ILO, as I said, and this is the perspective from tripartism. Tripartism means these topics should be discussed by government, employers, and workers. So these tripartite constituencies have to contribute to promote decent work. And as you know, decent work is the eighth sustainable development goals as a decent work and economic growth. The concept, this concept is composed of actually four strategic components. First one is labor rights, fundamental rights at work, labor rights. And second factors is employment. And third one is social dialogue. And they have fourth factors, social protections. But I focus on three dimensions of decent work. Where, as you noticed, three steps of humanistic management are composed of three factors, three steps. First one is dignity, human dignity. So this is closely related with labor rights, fundamental rights at work. And employment can be affected by ethical decisions. So second steps of humanistic management is ethical decisions, reflection of ethical decisions. So I would like to focus on employment aspect because this is affected by employment is affected by ethical decisions by employers. So in this sense, I am very interested in employment responsibility. What is employment responsibilities? This is second shared factors. And third ones, humanistic management propose third steps, stakeholder dialogue, and decent work frameworks. It also provides social dialogue. Social dialogue means dialogue between government, employers, and employees. So these are social partners. So as you see from these figures, there are shared factors for these two ongoing, this is ongoing initiatives, decent work initiatives in the framework of UN and ILO, and humanist management is ongoing initiatives. So this is my interest. How do we bridge between two ongoing initiatives and analyze the common findings of these two initiatives? Okay, so I'd like to explain more about labor rights. So labor rights means ILO declared, International Labor Organization declared fundamental principles and rights at work as a core international labor standards. What is that? Namely, freedom association and rights for collective bargaining and abolition of forced labor, abolition of child labor and discrimination, which became the core parts of international CSR initiatives and international standards. And labor rights of these standards are the basis of human dignity. Second one, as I said, employment is provided by employers, and the ethical decision of employers can affect these situations. And thirdly, social dialogue. So moreover, the Global Commission of the Future of the Future of the Work of ILO just published the report, and the report calls for a human-centered agenda for the future of the work. Therefore, recently I found that there are many interesting shared factors between two initiatives. Okay, next slide. So this is my pictures describing my interest. So I am particularly interested in this field. So decent work frameworks, we have employment, labor rights, social dialogue, and those are closely related to humanist management. So from employer side, so management is from employer side. There is a humanistic management side. And from worker side, this is a little bit Japanese connotation, constructive. Constructive means advocated by Japanese labor unions and employer organizations, common words. Constructive means creating values, added values, value added, which is a core part of productivities. So those are common goals for social partners. So constructive industrial relations is called by Japanese social partners. So this is Japanese perspective, Japanese approach. So I'm particularly interested in the two part, humanistic management and constructive industry relations. Those are the same coins of two sides. So, and social dialogue, the common aspect, and labor rights is based on human dignity. So, decent work framework and humanist management, there are many, many interesting common factors. This is my study field of humanist management and constructive industrial relations. Okay, so let's briefly look at the ethical decision by Japanese management. So as I said, employment security is a core part of Japanese sense of responsibility. So most important responsibility for employers during the successful productivity movement in Japan. So it is explained that we have a psychological contract. Psychological contract can be identical as a powerful source of high commitment. So Japanese workers are known as high committed workers. So productivity movement initiated from 1955 after the World War. We have a nationwide agreement of productivity enhancement movement. So there are three principles for that. So every employers and trade unions agrees with these three principles. So what is that? First one is employment security. At the center, employment security is a first principle for productivity movement. And second one is fair distributions as a result of productivity enhancement. And third one is information sharing. As you know, Japanese trade unions are enterprise-based unions. So they have very close relations, not company union, but they share information to advance productivities in a company. So in this framework, employment security is very strong in Japanese company. Sorry. So one example. So we have at the moment we have a pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. So employment at the risk. So how do Japanese employers, Japanese companies deal with these risks? First one is employment security is very strong. So there are mainly two measures for that. One is early retirement system. So voluntarily they ask employees to respond to early retirement system. So early retirement system means the company add retirement allowances than usual the retirement allowances. So voluntary departure is the first principles. And second one is here. Shukko is a Japanese shukko practice. So this is a company arrangement of outplacement for employment securities. So shukko practice is an inter-firm transfer. So surprisingly, the wage of transferred work are subsidized 100% or 90% or 70% by the original company, sending companies. So large companies do that. So for examples, most badly affected sectors like airlines. So Japan Airlines reportedly announced that 500 employees will be transferred to other companies. ANA, All Nippon Airlines, announced that 400 employees will be transferred to other companies. So we often used, Japanese large company often used this practice before at the oil crisis and the financial crisis. But this time, we had a much larger impact on employment. So 22 pandemic promoted this arrangement beyond sectors. So usually these companies transfer the workers to related sectors, related companies. But this time, the transfers is beyond the sector, like retail sectors and delivery service sectors, which needs more workers. So these transferred employees can be transferred to the sector beyond their industry. So this is the current interesting situation. But anyway, through these Shukko practice, employment contracts is kept. It is not retrenchment. Employment contract is kept, but it can be tentative transfer, but can be permanent transfer. So it depends on the situation. But anyway, the Shukko practice is used as it's not the perfect employment security, but this is a second choice of employment security. So likewise, we thought employment security is very important ethical decisions by employers. So this is a very interesting topic. So why Japanese company do that? Because we have a psychological contract like this. Firstly, we have a standardized initial wages from newly graduated student to the up to the retirement age, and we have seniority wages. And even though we have a fluctuation of the contributions, some wages are secured. So this is not real figures. This is the image of psychological contract. And this is the source of high commitment of Japanese companies. So if we had a break, as blue lines showed, it leads to the sudden collapse of high commitment. So competitive companies, Japanese companies, traditional companies, had a psychological contract of this type, so they cannot violate this psychological contract. So if they do so, high commitment of their workers are collapsed very suddenly. This is a reason of one reasons of employment is important for Japanese workers, Japanese companies. Okay, so summaries. Employment security is affected by ethical decisions of employers. Employment is the major source of income. So this is very important for workers. In general, employment is a major source of income to manage their cost of living. And socially, unemployment has several negative societal effects such as poverty, wasted human resources, and increase in criminal activities. In the youth unemployment, you can see the use of unemployment in the world. Japan is the lowest countries of youth unemployment rate. So this is the reflected by Japanese ethical decisions. And securing employment can create opportunities for people to apply their resources and improve their well-being. So securing employment is important topics. But as you know, employment is at risk. So employers cannot secure 100% of their employment. This is the very difficult questions. And I observed the symbolic Japanese Japanese business leaders management like him. He is a founders of Panasonic, Konosuke Matsushita. He led the business after the war. And he's very related to the humanistic management because he regards humanity respectation is very important for the management. So in the after the war, he proposed respect of humanities. So all the matters of management and labor issues can be integrated as a matter of respect of humanities. So this is the universal objectives of productivities. So everyone agrees with these goals. So he contributed to forming this kind of values, shared values. So it's reflected in working life, skills, and emotions. So all the aspects he promoted this kind of ideas in the real working lives. So I will touch on at another places because it takes time. Okay, and the second points of discussion is Japanese approach of stakeholder engagement. So third steps of humanistic management. So I call it Japanese way, Japanese approach is the bottom-up and joint effort approach, including communication as a very important process of the stakeholder engagement. So, for examples, Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, Paralympic Games extended, delayed, but I studies on their procurement policies, outsourcing policies, sourcing code. So Tokyo Olympic Games sourcing code said, by identifying effective and efficient response measures, both parties can enjoy the advantage reduction in the cost of compliance and auditing cost. So, sorry. So, if I can divide the way of standard applications, enforcing way and engagement way. If I could divide two ways, so this is engagement approach. During the stakeholder engagement, the situations of the both sides can be improved, not through direct enforcement of some standards. So this is engagement approach and can be called the bottom-up joint efforts. So these are attained through the process of engagement, empowerment, communication, and dialogue. So this is, I think, a kind of Japanese perspective of stakeholder engagement. And I think this is very worth studying furthermore. So again, the Panasonic, founder of Panasonic, explored this way. The catchphrase is coexistence and cause prosperity with various stakeholders, like workers. So they have long-standing labor management consultation bodies, very frequent bodies with workers, unions. And also, this is a retailers. Retailers is a stakeholder of manufacturers. So they formed very frequent exchange of retailers to improve their situations during engagement, ongoing engagement with the catchphrase of Kyozon Kyoe, coexistence and mutual prosperity. So this is the way of Matsushita. By the way, this observation will be published as a second volume of Humanistic Management in Practice that would be published in the next year, early next year, thanks to Ernest. So you can see my paper there. So this is a engagement with suppliers. So during the long-term relationship with suppliers, so overall productivities and quality management was upgraded. Okay, and finally, this can be applied in other projects. For example, decent work, as far as decent work concerned, better work project is very interesting. So this project is related to Japanese way of bottom-up approach, because this is the factory level, project, and at factory level establish and mentor workers management committees, helping them identify and tackle challenges in their factories. So as a result, it is reported that 65% of better work Vietnam factories have seen a rise in total sales. So they have a good result. Okay, as a concluding remarks, I would like to introduce my research project for decent work and constructive labor management relations for humanistic management. This is a tentative name, but you know, today is a deadline of the government research grant application. So I think Dr. Izuka is very busy with this. But I am applying these topics for the government research grant, Kakenhi, we call it Kakenhi, from next academic years. And anyway, this is my proposal. Sorry. I will create a link of website under the Japan chapters of Humanistic Management in collaboration with Dr. Mari Izuka. And I am looking forward to sharing the findings with you. And thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the wonderful opening presentation. And then I think this will lead to a lot of discussion we are going to do afterwards. But then I'd like to invite the next speaker, Yamamoto-san, in terms of his effort to do a well-being in the Japanese workplace using the gratitude. Please go ahead. 山本さん、画面共有できますか？
はい、ちょっと待ってください。
お願いします。
すみません、共有できないですね、今。できないって言われます。
共有できるはずになっていますが。
もう一個の方の、フォースライドって書いた方のアカウントの方にちょっと。
画面共有、そちらの方だとできますか？
もう一つの方にしてもらえるとできるんですが。
もう一つの方ってのは、画面共有3箇所は OK になってるんだけど。
2つ入ってるんですね。
はい。で、どちらでも参加者の方は入れます。共有できます。
いや、今共有できないって出てきちゃうんですが。
なんでだろうね。参加者に画面の共有を OK にしてるんだけど、なんでだろう。あれ、なんでだろ
う。もう一つの方のに共同ホストをつけてもらえると。
共同ホストしてますよね。はい。
そちらからはもう一個アカウント。そちらちょっとできないんですね。スライドがない。ちょっと。もう一つの純一山本があると思うんですけど。
うん、そっちからはできますか？
そっちからはできます。
じゃあそっちでお願いします。
じゃあそっちを共同ホストに設定してもらえばできると思います。
共同ホストに設定しないとできないのかな？スライドは。
すみません。
そっちの方で動いていただきます。ちょっと今探してます。どこにいるのって言って。なんかちょっと動いてもらうとか、純一山本これですかね。
フォースライドって書いてありますか？そっちを。
うん。
きたか
山本さん、これちょっとわかんない。どうしたらいい？
共同ホストに設定していただけると助かります。
どこで喋って、そのもう一つの方がどれだかわかんないのよ。あ、これかな。これかな。こっちかな。こっちか。
すみません。ややこしくてですよ。
これで、純一山本さんですよね。で、これを、すみません。名前にハンコ、ピン、レコーディング許可。すみません。ちょっとこれは、ミュートの解除を求めるしかできないんですけど、そこはミュート解除できますか？
ちょっとできますね。はい。
Okay.
共有ができない。
Okay, I think we have a little bit of the problem technically. What do I do? Ernst, are you there? We have a problem of the sharing the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yeah. Junichi Yamamoto joined with two names, and then I think the one he's together, he's a co-host, does not, he cannot do the sharing of
which is the other name?
PowerPoint.
Which is the other name? Then I'll add that as a co-host.
山本さん、もしあれだったらもう一回入り直すとかしていただいて、で、私が先行きましょうか。なんか喋ってみましょうか。
I saw it, Mari.
Okay, maybe I ask Yamamoto-san to join again, and then maybe is this work? Now you have a two co-host. ごめん、山本さん、2つ今コホストになってるんですけど、できますか？出ちゃったかな。Okay, so sorry for a little bit of the confusions. Let me, I think what I would do is I'm like, I'm going to do my presentation first then, so that this is also related to Yamamoto-san. So it may be, I can, while we are waiting for Yamamoto-san to come, I will do a very short presentation. This is the joint research on the well-being and sustainability, and then what is the Japanese corporation's experience of COVID-19 SDGs, especially on what we studied about is the telework situation, and then what they said, what they think about the society, what they experience, is the work-life balance improve, etc., etc. So what we did was we did so Japan was a COVID-19 attack, and then the April was bad, also May is bad. And then this May, we have April and May, we have a state of the emergency, so that people are asked to stay at home. So most of the big companies, they go to the telework, and then people are staying in the house. So what is now we are not really under the normal, so that the people are coming back, but then what is the situation? What can we learn from the experience on the well-being work style, or what is a society will be in another telework? So we did the study on that. There are three things we did. First, we asked what are the, how you felt about COVID-19, what's happened, etc. You felt stress, etc. And then we talked to the three different companies, and then is there any differences by the experience, depends on the industries. And then what can be the tips for the well-being at the workplace. So the methodology of the research is from May 22 to June 15. This is the end of the May is the end of the state of emergency, so people can go back to the office. So this is really the kind of the right time that the people experience on the COVID-19 telework. And then, so the research is 3 companies, and then all of them did that work. Research question is, research is about original survey, and then we did the interviewing hearing. Response method is a yes/no question because we just ask so many questions. And then usually we do a Likert scales, etc. But then that on this one, because of so many things we ask, so we just did it so that they can respond very quickly. And then we did use the company's internal survey system, and then we did the correlation, and then also the qualitative hearings and things like this. There are the literature search we have done, and then let me just quickly go through, and then we come up with the survey questions, about 100 items. But these the questions are categorized on the changing work-life balance. What is their actual work changed, and then how they felt about those changes. How is there any the shift of their feelings, and then what's happened to the communications, what's happened to the performance evaluation, the opinions, and then what is they thought about their self-growth, or especially in the change in the how they felt about their society linked to their work to the society. So this is an example of the questions, but these are 3 companies we picked. One is the consulting company, and actually they teach how to do the telework, etc. But then they have not done the research about themselves. So it's a very much people-centered company. Another one is, this is a multinational company, which is the production, and then do a reasonably high-tech production, but it's a machinery, so it's very much the strength of the Japanese society, the industry. And then the third one is the information service company. This is also one of the top Japanese companies. Okay, so this is the people, and then the male is blue, gender, female is red. This is 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, that. And then, so anyway, let me just do, basically they are operating all over the world, all over Japan, except the company C, the IT company, their headquarters, and everybody is in Tokyo area. But they have some subsidiaries and things, but basically everybody's in the headquarters. I cannot, I didn't translate all, but then this is the result. And then let's put everything together. It's very, 80% was very happy because that they said, oh, our stress was reduced because we don't have to commute. And then Japanese, trains and those systems are terrible. So they're happy, 80% is happy. And then the 60% felt that they felt stressed because they have to stay in the house. And then amazingly, 58%, which is 60% almost, felt my work is actually good for the telework. And then the remaining that they worried about the coronavirus will hit them or maybe hit the family, etc. 54% felt that the work-life balance improved, and then etc. etc. Actually, this red one, many of them felt, hey, maybe this telework is a good thing to build a good society after the corona. And then they also thought maybe this 51%, they felt maybe that the diversity of the workplace, usually the diversity in Japan, meaning it's gender diversity, but then it can be improved. And then also that the telework, the telework is also helping the society. So there's a lot of society related comments came in. We take a look at this a bit further. So overall what's happened is that hey, the environment was bad, but then that the people really showed the resilience. And then they also, from the things they said, maybe we can see some kind of what are the factors good to do the well-being work style or well-being of the society itself. So that's I think I basically said the same thing. So I need to skip, but that's what we found. And then, okay, so what are the well-being elements of the working style? The people feel happy when they feel they're growing, you know, not the money, it's a growth, or they feel I'm achieving something. That another good important factor is discretionary power of, or maybe the feeling of the control, I should say. And then that if the work and then the things you do are validated, then you feel happier. Also that if you understand what's the big pictures and then what even a small part you're doing, what part you're doing, if the clarity is there, you feel happy. And then the evaluations are fair, or maybe it's clear, then you're happy. And then you feel friendship or kindness and things like that in the workplace that may make you happy, very happy actually. And then also that the feeling you are helping others or you are contributing to society or others, that will make you happy. So what happened to the things they said, we came up with the correlations, and then it's kind of so we can, don't go to details, but then that what are the kind of this is what this part is a positive, this part is the right part is a negative. Okay, I felt some people fulfill what it means. Some people fulfill, okay, if I feel my work is advancing, then they feel more motivated, and then they feel more useful. They also be more interest in the societies, etc., etc. So that there are certain factors, you can see a lot of links. And this is all the statistically valid correlations, but then certain factors to make you happy, but at the same time make you very useful in the society. So those things are clarified. This is a summary of it. And then this is sense of, if you get the sense of the growth, if going forward, then then it's also correlated. You can get the concentration, and then is usually Japanese companies are slow in decision making. But if you get this quick decision making, all those things are very good. Discretionary powers, what I mentioned, the work of validated, but doing a telework itself is different, right? So that was kind of plus for them. And then some companies show the big picture. Some people, some bosses don't talk about it, but now because of telework, they have to tell very clearly. Then it works well. Evaluations, some people, my work is not very clear. People cannot see what I'm doing. Then it's bad. But then there's some anxiety remain. But basically, that when the team, we got the very clear evaluation clarity, then they're happy. Communication, there are some concerns, but then that because they don't have to commute, actually they ended up having tons and tons and tons of meetings, and then so that was okay for many cases. And many people felt that they like to contribute to the society, which is amazing. So so I have a variations, what's happened to the consulting companies. It's similar, but then it's a little bit different. What's happened to the production company, manufacturing company. It's kind of interesting. Consulting company are people you actually meet. So if you cannot meet, then there was a kind of a stress for them. But they have to shift it. The production company, of course, you have to deal with something tangible. You have to go to the factory, and then so some people felt annoyed that they have to do the telework, and then that causes the anxiety. The IT company, they're supposed to be they're supposed to be very happy about this, but the funny thing is they actually found, hey, my work is an IT company, but my work is actually fit for the telework. That means that they happen to be commuting long hours in the train to do the things which they can just do the telework. So that was the discovery, and then So no wonder that the many Japanese IT companies decided to move to the telework 100% or so after even after the restrictions were released. Okay, having said this, let me just stop this. So this is the sample size of 2000. So this is very big. And then I think we are getting kind of a hint of what makes you happy at workplace, especially under the telework situation. And then I hope that this kind of a study can contribute to think about, okay, what is the well-being at the workplace? Okay, so that's end my presentation. Thank you. Let me just share. And then I wonder what's happened to the Yamamoto-san. Yamamoto-san, are you ready? Yamamoto-san, are you ready? Yamamoto-san, 今できますか? Okay, お願いします。So that now you have Yamamoto-san. Okay, go ahead. お願いします。聞こえてないかな?
Sorry. Mic is off. Thank you for your introduction. And my name is Junichi Yamamoto. I'm a researcher in NEC Solution Innovators.
声が小さくないかな? 大丈夫かな皆さん? Can everybody hear?
Yes.
Is that my...
聞こえない?
Just a little bit maybe louder. Thank you. ちょっとだけ大きな声でお願いします。コンピューターかもしれないけど。
Hi, my name is Junichi Yamamoto. I'm a researcher in NEC Solution Methods. Let me talk about our gratitude study and results and experiments we did at Japanese workplace last year. Before we get the main point, let me introduce my company and my team. I belong to NEC Solution Methods, major software company in NEC Group. Our main business is IT solution, IT service, and IT software development, and to sell IT products. We have a laboratory group in Innovation Promotion Division. There are two subgroups in the lab. The first group is researches VR, MR, and human-centric interface. The second group researches behavior change. My team belongs to the second subgroup. And my team main study theme is employment, engagement, and well-being using technology. Now let me start my presentation on our study. Our gratitude study is based on some preliminary studies and literature review. First of all, let me introduce them. Now, our study is based on two preliminary researches we have done. This page shows the result of the first research. The first research was a questionnaire survey of our company in 2015. The purpose of this research was to find out factors on employee engagement. As a result, we found out that gratitude was related to many factors. Especially, gratitude had correlation with supervisor support and colleagues support. The second one was a question survey we did to ordinary people in 2017. Purpose of this survey was how many Japanese ordinary people feel gratitude and say thank you with each other. As a result of this survey, 43% of respondents either feel gratitude or not say thank you. This result amazing to me. According to the literature review, we found out three effects of gratitude. One 1. Gratitude enhance well-being. 2. Gratitude promote relationship. 3. Gratitude form trust. And we have investigated Japanese study in psychology. In psychology studies, we found out a strong suppression factor of feeling gratitude. The factor was naturalness of the situation. For example, at workplace, boss tends to take it for granted that an employee gets the job done. In order to confirm it, we have interviewed employees in our company. According to our interview, we found as suppression factors say thank you were lose timing and embarrassment. Thus, we made a hypothesis: these suppression factors may be reduced via app on digital device. So I conducted an experiment last year. The purpose of the experiment was twofold. First was attempt to express gratitude with the digital device to make it easier to say thank you. Second was explore relation between digital data and well-being, relationship, trust. From here, let me talk about our experiment. The experiment was carried out at a government office in Miyake Town, Nara Prefecture in Japan. In the office, 98 staff working in 15 chains. In the experiment, we have used 3 tools: iPhone, our apps, and our question. We had planned the experiment as 3 steps. First step was to give the previous question. Second step was to use our app for about 2 months. Final step to give the post questionnaire. This questionnaire is the same to the previous one. The app used as the experiment is called Thanks app, which we developed as a test tool. This app is very simple application software. Main function is to send and receive a thanks image with comment. And thanks app mainly now has 3 features. First, the user can share the thanks and comments to others. Second, user can send thanks later, anytime and anywhere. Third, users can anonymously send thanks to raise their feeling of embarrassment. Our engagement questionnaire consisted of 10 factors with 43 questions and Likert 7-item scales. We have classified the 10 factors to 5 categories. The first category is related to well-being or engagement. Second category is organizational system and culture. Third and fourth category are relationship and trust among the colleagues and supervisors. Final category is organization behavior. Before the result, let me talk about method of analysis first. We calculated 3 indexes of thanks up data and 10 factors of questionnaire data. First index was rate of thanks in team. Here we calculated number of sending thanks to the team member over number of users in the team. Second index was the rate of expressed thanks between teams. We calculate number of sending thanks to other team over the number of users in team. Last index, the network complexity in team we defined. I will show the formula in next page. 10 factors in team were calculated by averages from previous survey result. Note that we didn't use post-survey data because of very few respondents. Finally, we calculate correlations among these indexes and these factors. This is a new network complexity index we have defined. It was like the cluster index in network analysis. We named this index triangle density. In the formula, the numerator is the number of triangles in the graduated network. The denominator is number of triangles is the full connected network. The one graduated network doesn't have small triangles. This is equal to 0. If the graduated network is fully connected, this index equal to 1. Okay, now let me show the result. This table shows the indexes of every team computed from thanks up data. Total users 88 people. Total thanks is about 4,000 times. And network figures are shown on right side. Examples of the graduated network being created from raw data. This table shows the 10 factors every team computed from questionnaire data. Total respondents are 62 people. Average score of 10 factors are between the 4.3 and 5.0. Last one. This table shows the correlation between the 3 indexes and the 10 factors. The result is very important, I think. The most important result is a correlation between the triangle density and trust in colleagues. There is a very strong correlation. This means that complexity of graduate network data mostly equal to trust within team members. The other correlations are very interesting. A rate thanks in team has correlation with trust in supervisor. This means gratitude increase if supervisor is trustful. The rate of thanks between teams has a correlation with engagement factors. This means high engaged team often express gratitude to other team. The result of the relation between the network complexity and trust is very similar to the relation between the social graph and social capital theory. In the social capital theory, the sparse graph named bridging means creativity as social capital. And dense graph named bonding means trust as social capital. The bonding graph is more complex than bridging graph. Namely, encouraging of network complexity means encouraging trust within social network or teams. Let me summarize this presentation. The most important findings is that the data of digital gratitude is related to trust within team. And we obtained the other three findings too. Number of the gratitude expression with digital device was dependent teams. Second, related of thanks in team was related to trust in supervisor. Third, rate of thanks between teams was related to engagement or well-being. And we have two issues in future. One is relation between digital gratitude and social capital has not been clarified yet. The other one is we want to make it clear the effect of intervention for team with digital gratitude or digital device. This is all for my presentation. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Okay, thank you very much. Watanabe-san, is it possible that you can talk? I think because of the time, I'm a bit concerned. So maybe we like to skip, and then we like to have Watanabe-san to present.
Yes,
Are you there? Yes. Please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me share my slide.
Watanabe-san is going to present about very interesting projects she's going to do.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction, Dr. Izuka. So let me, oops, I think I cannot share my slides.
I just made you co-host, so you should be able now.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me try again. Yes, I think I can now. Can you see the slides? Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to share this very interesting project as for me as well. It's called this is a joint project that Japan International Cooperation Agency has initiated, and I am a member of a non-profit organization called ASK, and we jointly operate this platform. We are launching the platform coming weeks in November 16th. And I would like to introduce you what is the object and what we try to do and how we engage the stakeholders. So at first, why a platform and what is this platform? So this platform is, the name of the platform is called Japan Platform for Migrant Workers Towards Responsible and Inclusive Society. And the reason that one of the government agency has initiated this project is that in Japan, approximately about 1.66 million foreign workers are working in Japan, in fact, and 380,000 of them are under the government's program called Technical Intern Training Program. And in addition, the foreign students who do the part-time work in Japan, they are allowed to do part-time work up to 28 hours a week. So those are also included in this, the scope of this project. And the number of businesses who employ those foreign workers is said to be about 240,000 facilities. And what is the situation is for those people is that Japan has been criticized that the foreign workers are discriminated and harassed, and especially those people who's working under this TITP program. For example, the US Department of State issues the report on trafficking in persons, and this year Japan was downgraded from tier 1 to tier 2 because of non-action on the side of the government to improve this situation. And on the other hand, as you are very aware, the global trend to promote human rights is very, very increasing, which I really welcome the trend. And especially with the UNGP and SDGs in place, the ESG investors are pushing the big companies to clarify and be transparent about what they do about these issues on human rights. And currently in Japan, the human rights agenda, the top of the list, the foreign workers, how we do deal with it. So in addition to this business environment, Japan is facing a very rapidly aging society and lacking workforce. So as a Japanese society and the businesses, we really need to welcome the foreign workers in Japan and treat them well in the society and in the workplace as well. So now the companies are really shifting towards paying more attention and try to do the right things finally. And not only for their corporations, but including the supply chain. That's the demand from the society, and that's pushing them forward. So these are the reasons that we are now initiating this platform. So what is the platform? What is its concept? And this slide shows what it aims at and the code of conduct that's listed in as our actions. So I'm not going to read out, but there are 5 key actions that's listed here. The first one is compliance. You know, we have to be compliant in treating the workers well, the work hours and the payment, non-harassment, and that kind of stuff. And the second one is to respect human rights of foreign workers and improve the working and living condition. And the third is to foster relationship of trust with the workers and the society as a whole. And number 4 is to build capacity of foreign workers, which means skills development, which is really an important part of the ILO convention that Professor Kuriyama has also explained. And number 5 is that we will disseminate this activity and the information on how we try to progress. And we try to inform the Japan society and also the international community of these efforts. So these are the commitments and code of conduct that we invite many companies as well as government organizations, academia, and Dr. Izuka is also very strongly supporting this initiative. So the key actions and the purpose of the platform. The main platform I just emphasized, but it's really important to stress the importance, is to promote inclusive society and sustainable economic growth. It goes hand in hand. So I try to talk to the corporations that by doing this, they'll be stronger in their business as well. As for me, I've been working in the private sector for more than 25 years, promoting sustainability for more than 15 years. And I do believe that the companies who do operate, considering the sustainability and the development of the society, they can get stronger. And so the key actions and who will be the members is I also explained that we invite those who agree to the code of conduct that I just explained. So with those people who have and share the same vision, we try to work together. And the members that we invite will be the companies, government organizations, municipalities, lawyers, and research institutions in academia. And the key actions that we are promoting is to first gather and share information and good practices. And the second is to create a scheme to listen directly to the workers' voice. And the third is to create solutions based on the needs that arose from those workers' voice. And fourth, to disclose information globally on the issues and the efforts that's being made. And we try to engage more and more workers and employers. And this project will take place for 10 years. So we target the SDGs target year 2030. And as the initiation phase, which will be the first 2 years, JICA will fund the project and this administrative office so that we can establish a core activities and set forth to expand and engage more membership. And on the second phase, expansion phase, we try to seek to establish in a more formal institution so that we can promote even more stronger on this issue in Japan. And the third phase, which will be the well-established phase, is to it's an accomplishment phase. We try and come up with the results of minimizing the foreign workers incidents or invite favorable responses from the foreign workers who have been in Japan and be fond of Japan. So that is the process that we are aiming at. And the main activities is the detail of what I just said in the former slide, so I will not repeat, but to add in a more concrete way, we try to develop applications and websites so that we can directly access to the workers without going through their employers. The problem right now is that the workers themselves have no access to voice their needs. So that the employers and the controlling groups who hire the workers, they try to manage the workers' voices themselves. So the actual corporations don't have direct access to talk to these workers. So that's something that we try to break through so that the workers' voices are directly being heard. Okay, and the next slide shows how it's going to structure and work. And it's a very simple structure and simple membership status with no fees on the membership. So the first 2 years will be free charge for members. So that's why we would like to engage with a very progressive, active, positive partners who would voluntarily contribute to improving this situation in Japan. Sorry, this slide is in Japanese. We are having a launch forum on November 16th, and we only have Japanese setting for this event. But I would really like to invite those people who are interested in solving this issue and participating in solving the issue. We have a very famous journalist who would give a keynote speech, and it should be an exciting event. So those of you who have access to Japanese or who are Japanese, I would really love to hear from you to attend this launch forum. So that would be the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Watanabe-san. It's a very nice overview, and then I hope that your activities are very, very important for the humanistic management in Japan. So I hope that we can track and then communicate in various ways. Now we will have about 25 minutes, 23 minutes or so by the student who are the work who are staying in Japan to talk about it. And then Ahista, are you ready?
Yes, Professor, I just need to share my screen.
Yes, can you kindly do so? Can you do that?
It says participant screen sharing disabled.
Mickey, can you please stop your screen sharing because I can't share several screens at the same time.
Okay, sorry.
No worries. Okay, and who wants to share now?
That would be me.
Sane.
Okay, Ahista, I just made you co-host, so you should be
able
to
now you're the co-host. Thank you.
And I think, Mari, you can also assign co-hosts, no?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know, have a look. I think co-hosts can add other co-hosts, but I don't know.
Okay. All right. Ahista, so go ahead.
Sorry. 1 second. Do this. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why my slides keep jumping. Let me try again. Is somebody else using my screen? Is that possible? No? Right? No? So my slides are just jumping for fun. Okay, can I just stop the sharing for a second? There we go. No, there's something happening here. 1 second. Okay. Okay, for the sake of time, perhaps I should just, will you just let me present it in this mode because I don't know what's going on. That's okay.
That should be fine. If you mean you're not going into presenter mode, but just into the normal PowerPoint view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be big enough to see.
Yeah. Okay. And what I can do is try and close this ribbon. Okay. Okay, dokie. So what we will be doing today is hearing the voices from Dashisha Business.
Lisa, you're not screen sharing right now at all.
At all? Oh, geez. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties today.
Yes, now it's starting.
Okay, let me try one more time. Okay. So today we're going to hear from the global voices of students at Dashisha Business School, and not just students, but the latest graduates. And the aim here of the network is, from our understanding, is that human dignity should be given under all circumstances. But COVID is an unprecedented time and an extremely exceptional circumstance. And we think human experience offers an opportunity for learning. And so the graduate and current students are change agents for the future, and we'd like to have active stakeholder engagement with them and hear insights from them. So we'd like to start off with Maria. Maria?
Okay, yes, I am here. My name is Maria Jose Perez Rebolledo. I am from Mexico, and currently I am in Yokohama. Even you can see maybe my video with a landmark here, just for purpose of visualization, right? And right now I am a product developer in sales in Yamaha Electric Company, but before I was also doing an internship in Mitsubishi Fuso. So to explain a little bit about my experience, I want you to imagine this situation. You finally decide to study abroad your 2-year master degree in Japan with the hope to fully immerse yourself in that country's culture and learn about the business's practices. First year, everything goes flawless, just as you expected and you planned for years. The second year arrives and now you are senpai, where you need to write your thesis and if you're lucky, find an interesting internship position, right? Somehow, life shows you that there's some pay about your previous efforts and a big company offers you a position with a respectable company. But it is in a different city rather than in Kyoto, in Doshisha. So why not? You already moved from your home country to study abroad, so what about you move again, now to another city, only for that internship position, a piece of cake, right? You're about to start your 6-month internship in that company and suddenly your normal status quo changes. First day at your internship, it's an onboarding process with only a few coworkers and there's only 2 of your supervisors in the office. The rest of the team is no longer in the office anymore. The second day, there are even less people. The third day, they don't even bother to tell you that, oh, you should not come to the office. So they send you home to work from there for other 4 months. So what are the challenges during COVID? Well, definitely you were excited about being part of a company or a new team to learn from your supervisors, but now that's not gonna happen anymore. Now your engagement rate is 0 or close to 0, and you only know your colleagues by voice. I was only able to meet them face-to-face after 4 months of working with Zoom, Skype for Business, and Microsoft Teams, and rarely see people during the office when I was there after the 4 months. Definitely the bright side that I saw during this internship is that my communication skills were definitely improved. That's one of the opportunities. Communication is a very underrated skill, but these days, as we are going to work from home more and more these days, it's a very, very particular skill that you need to develop even more. Comparing to Mexico, for example, they are taking big, interesting countermeasures that sometimes I consider them a little bit exaggerated, but honestly, they are working so much. For example, I found that the social practices of hugging and kissing, as they do it in my country, they're not doing it here. So they're, of course, doing better than in my countries or a lot of Latin American cultures. To me, being human during COVID is a wake-up call to rethink about our current practices. I now know that we can slow down and take care of the environment. I now know that we can work remotely. We don't need to go to the office all the time, but we can also have this systematic approach of just working from home. And of course, my future concerns about this issue is that it is always difficult to be away from home or away from the family. So the uncertainty about the future and when are you going to meet them again is very complicated. It's more about an emotional issue rather than a technical issue for work. Thank you, Akista.
Okay, then if we can go on to Nimisha.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Nimisha. I'm originally from India, but currently I'm based in Tokyo, Japan. I moved here a couple of months ago from Kyoto, where I was studying at Doshisha Business School. And the time where I moved to Tokyo was a very crucial time as a student, because all of us were engaging in the activity of starting to work on our thesis. And I think I faced a lot of challenges, not only in my workspace, but also personally while having to complete my education, because as students, we weren't able to share our personal experiences in the same way as our senpai had did while writing a thesis, and having to move to a completely different city. It was very daunting, especially when you don't really get chance to engage with people. Also, I work as a part-time educator, so we faced a lot of challenges there, because as an educator of young children, it's been very difficult to try to explain to kids how all their actions have consequences, and that they need to stay at least a little far away from each other. They can't do all these same activities that they did before, and having to explain it to adults is difficult, but just imagine doing it to children. It was I think it was a very daunting task for us, but we did overcome it. We went online for a while in order to avoid any of our students getting COVID. And again, that was difficult because not everyone is used to working with technology all the time, especially not 3 to 12-year-old kids. We had closed down temporarily, but hoping that the worst would pass while we're still here. Now, though, we have taken more preventative measures. We wear face shields in addition to masks all the time. We have to constantly sanitize our surroundings, our areas, to ensure that no germs are passed on from one student to another. Daily temperature checks. It's just a lot personally as well, but I think everyone is adapting. The opportunities that I saw in this was that when we shifted to online mode, we opened a new offering as a company. We were able to develop new products, which we'll continue to use after this whole thing has passed, and then we can educate not only the people who can come to us, but also the people who couldn't physically reach us. There are a lot of differences between the situation in my home country versus Japan. Like, I feel people are a lot more conscious, and wearing mask was something which here they did on a regular basis as well. So it wasn't that difficult to adapt to. But COVID has been difficult for everyone. And I think that as a human, we should all have the ability to understand the situation that someone else is going through, because we don't all share the same experiences. So definitely understanding others and being kind to each and every one right now is something we definitely need to work on more. And I'm definitely worried about the safety of people that I work with, my own safety, when we have to physically go there as well. And also the mental health and the toll that this whole COVID situation has taken on the people who are forced to stay in, the people who take energy from being outside and being with people. It's a lot to take in, but I think we'll pass this somehow. That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, I think I like to be a little bit strict on the time. Ahista, can you aim to finish by 4:10 in 7 minutes? Is it possible?
I'm sure we can, because it's just Carlos and the first years to speak, and then we can be done. So if the rest of the guys can just be as brief as possible.
Okay, I'll try to speak as fast as I can. My name is Carlos
Be aware of the
Hernandez. I'm
time.
from
Thank
Mexico.
you.
I'm currently living in Tokyo. I was also studying in Kyoto, and now I'm a graduate student looking for a job. For me, my challenges I have experienced is that since the beginning of the year, I applied to a lot of internships. I was actually happy that I was in the process to get one. And suddenly they were all interrupted because of the COVID-19 happening. So that was really striking to me. Also, the part-time I was doing, it was canceled and a lot of my coworkers were laid off. So that was also very sad to see. And the opportunities I've saw with all of this is that there are a lot of new business models that are emerging from this situation. And I think it will lead to creativity for many industries on how to survive through this pandemic. Also, compared to Mexico, I found in Japan that the Japanese culture has a lot of consideration for other members of the community. And what I see in my country is there are a lot of people already going to parties and they haven't taken all the precautions that need to be taken. And for me, being human during COVID, it means to understand and put yourself in the position of the most vulnerable person. And you have to act in not in also in yourself, but in others, how they can be affected by this situation. And I think that leads me to one of my main concerns in the future is that I have seen a lot of people hasn't really learned about this situation. And I think that's my main issue, that they will not learn from this situation and in the future they will make the same mistakes they did. So that's it.
Okay, then if we can just go on to Carlos.
Okay, so good afternoon. My name is Carlos Cordova, and I was born in Mexico. I've been living in Kyoto, Japan for 1 year and 2 months by now, and I am currently in the Global MBA program of Doshisha. Regarding the challenges I had to face during this pandemic, the biggest one was definitely about the financial situation, especially during March and April. And I came to Japan with my own savings, and I am basically paying my tuition fees and daily expenses with these personal savings. And my family is just supporting me with the rent. So when the exchange rate increased around 40% during those months, I felt terrified and I was so worried because I was going to lose a lot of money withdrawing from the ATM in the long term. So, but I would like to jump to the third column now, because here in Japan, I found this peculiarity of receiving a direct help from the government, especially the money that we receive in our bank accounts as residents, even the foreigners, and the additional emergency handout for students. So this really helped me a lot during the worst times. And I actually paid my tuition for last semester with that money. Also, I noticed that the Japanese already had a lot of habits such as regular use of masks. In Mexico, we never used face masks before the pandemic, and also avoiding the touch of among people when they greet, for example, as Maria mentioned. And I believe Japanese habits were crucial to prevent a massive spread of the virus compared with the situation that Mexico still is struggling to manage. And regarding my student life, and back to the second column, although this pandemic caused a lot of negative impact in societies, it represents also a unique opportunity for the approach I can take in my master thesis for graduation, because my class will go into history as the only one who lived the 3 stages, like before, during, and after the pandemic, as we all hope. And in the last 9 months, I've saw a lot of unity within my class members as human beings. Like, it doesn't matter which country are you from, it doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter the color of your skin, doesn't matter the language you speak. I mean, we were taking care of each other, frequently asking each other how our families were doing, if everything was okay, trying to obey the recommendations from the authorities and staying safe. It was really marvelous. And finally, regarding my concerns, I already talked about.
Sorry, Carlos. I think that's so much good information, but just so we can have the other students' input as well, Can we just go on to the next one?
I go on in Adrian, and I'm first-year student just online because I'm willing to enter in Japan. And that's one of the challenges that I found, that during that situation, that the time difference is or extremely early in the morning or extremely late during the night, the courses. So it's being a tough moment for me. And if we go directly to the third part, I think that one big difference between Japan and Europe in general is how the pandemic are just solving the situation. The frontiers are closed, or at least until now, for the foreign people, even if we are following the same directives, that we are following the quarantine or we are following the test, but it was really hard to ask to enter, and what was a big difference that I found. If we think about what is being human in that situation, I think that one thing you have to keep in mind is one health point is, you know what, when now the environment, human and animals are together, now the literature are going to that path, and I think that will be the future to avoid all that problem that we are living to today. And about my last point, one of the biggest concerns that I have that nobody's maybe thinking about is the wildlife situation. I was working when all started in Borneo in the jungle with for an NGO, and the profits for NGO was from tourism, and also the donations for people. Now people, I understand that they're giving more money to the human, but we cannot forget that our planet is extremely important to continue our daily life. So that's my point. Nick, please go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so sorry, we're very short on time. So my name's Nicholas Lenan. I'm from America, but currently living in Kyoto, and I'm a first-year GMBA student at Doshisha. So I'm very fortunate to be at school now, but the biggest difficulty or challenge I had was actually getting to Doshisha, or getting to Kyoto. So as a foreigner who quit my job in Japan, it was a very stressful experience because there was little information for us during the times, because current protocols and stuff were all changing, but no one had actual answers. So the two choices were pretty much to go home and quit my life here in Japan, or to just risk hoping that it'll work out and then maybe being forced out of the country later. And so for me, I think skipping to what being human really means during this time is just to be aware of everyone around you and to be courteous to everyone. I think it's very easy as a privileged person to kind of mitigate or downplay the current pandemic. So I think it's just really important to be aware of everyone's different situations. And for my concerns, I'm very concerned about the mental and physical well-being of a lot of people, especially in terms of medical care. So in America, a lot of non-life-threatening medical services have stopped. So some people depend on these, and I think that I've seen firsthand the amount of damage it can cause to not be able to get these services.
Okay. Unfortunately, we're very short of time, but we did have a summary of what everybody said. But just to highlight to you, some of the real concerns of current students about are really valid, because the graduate students are facing those concerns. Some of the things they highlighted was job hunting, and it really is a challenge for this for the graduate students. But I'd like to end off with saying, from the participants, what it means to be human is to think of others, respect, and unity. And this was a theme across all of the students, what they had all said. And I think that's something really valuable we can take forward. And I apologize for taking so much time, Professor.
Okay, so thank you very much. And I think this basically, we still have 3 minutes. So if there is any burning comments from the floor, because I didn't have any time to do a question answer session, please go ahead. If not, I'd like to conclude this session. Okay. So Ernst, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity for this session. And I hope all the best for the rest of the conference, because I believe we are the first one.